What's up everybody, it's your boy Skipx here with another video for you guys here today. What I want to talk to you guys about is 4 possible ideas that I think could be planned for the very next Kingdom Hearts game. As we know, the Osaka team is now hiring for positions for the next game in the series, and now it is only but a matter of time until it gets announced in the next 2 to maybe even 3 years. I just wanted to put out my ideas about what could be the next game. So number 1, and this is nothing original, but a Union Cross or Chi remake with traditional gameplay on home consoles. I've seen many people talking about this for a while, as early as January after the game came out, and I think it's something that could very well happen. And while we did get kind of a recap of Chi, we don't have any equivalent of that in Union Cross, and I think this could be a very good idea for the Osaka team, mainly because a lot of people do not like playing mobile games still. They have this stigma of just being cash grabs and not really being that interesting to play, and while there are still a fair amount of those, mobile gaming has gotten better, but it still hasn't shaken that stigma. And many people, just like myself, aren't really the most fond of Kingdom Hearts Key's gameplay on mobile, and while I am a fan of mobile games, it just never really clicked with me, which ended up making me just watch the cutscenes when the updates for the main story came out. But if you were to make a AAA recap game, which would get people caught up with Chi and Union Cross, which also allowed us to make our own characters, bringing back the customization element from Kingdom Hearts A Fragmentary Passage 0.2 from the 2.8 collection, I think that would be something that a lot of people would be highly appreciative of. And another thing that we could add into this game to kind of keep the multiplayer aspect of Chi/Union Cross is that possibly the Osaka team could create some type of hub area within Daybreak Town where it kind of works similar to the Mirage Arena, where certain players can team up with each other to tackle certain bosses or challenges within that certain area, which would also mean that would be a way for them to dish out loot to people and keep us interested in the game that much longer, and make the wait in between that game and the next mainline Kingdom Hearts game not feel as long, because we'll have something Kingdom Hearts related to kind of hold us over. Next, Birth by Sleep 2. I am not the biggest fan of the original Birth by Sleep's gameplay, but what I did enjoy was the multiple narratives within one game, and them being overall shorter than one massive campaign, you being able to take these at your own pace and finish out each of them within a couple of days without devoting a lot of time to each within that day. With that being said, I don't mean Birth by Sleep Volume 2 that was supposed to come out but was eventually cancelled. If you don't know about that game, it was supposed to be a story where it was going to be Aqua with her time in the Realm of Darkness, Mickey looking at his perspective of the games from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and Riku's perspective from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and they possibly teased maybe even doing something with Xehanort, seeing as he was at the end of the trailer for the game, but we never got to see that idea come to fruition. But in this version, my version of Birth by Sleep 2, there will be 3 characters, and these 3 characters will be Roxas, Riku, and Kairi, and let me explain what their roles will be. Roxas, number 1, is the former nobody of Sora, seeing as he is his own person at this point within Kingdom Hearts 3 and they exist separately. He will probably want to repay the favor to Sora for trying to find him a body. While ultimately Roxas probably ended up saving himself, he would like to return the favor by trying to get Sora back to the realm of light, and he will probably go under the tutelage of Yen Sid to try and find any way that he possibly can to find a loophole within the power of waking, and eventually find a way to bring him back, to maybe even reverse the effects of the power of waking in some weird way. And that will lead him into finding things out about the past of Keyblade Wielders, and maybe even teasing some things about what's going to happen in Union Cross, or just straight up tell us some things that we don't exactly know about yet, but then we'll eventually find out and make those connections ourselves, which I think could be a very interesting thing. And while doing that, he would obviously travel to different worlds following clues given to him by books and Yen Sid's advice. Next, Riku. As we see in the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3, Riku has somehow wandered into the same place Sora has been, so we have to assume that Riku probably ended up finding out how to use the power of waking, and in his hurriedness to try and bring Sora back, ended up in the same exact situation that Sora is in right now. So his journey would be about trying to find Sora in this world, using the logic that if I did the same exact thing as Sora, he's probably here as well, which will lead him to crossing paths with Vernon Rex and many other characters who inhabit this new realm or world that we're supposed to be in. And possibly we could use this realm as kind of a way to bring in Disney properties that we would probably never see in a mainline game. Maybe things such as like the Black Cauldron, for example. A movie that isn't necessarily dark, but I don't think would ever be in a mainline Kingdom Hearts game, but I could see it making it into a game that's not a numbered title. And I think Riku personally would interact with those characters a lot better than Sora would with his happy-go-lucky attitude, but that's just my personal opinion. And lastly, Kairi. What will she be doing? Because it sounds like, because I know at this point you guys are saying, well, all you need is just Riku and Roxas from what you're saying, but no. Kairi may have a different line of reasoning behind trying to find Sora and Riku at this point within the game. She has seen 2 times that the power of waking has very harsh consequences to those who mess with time way too much. So let's say that she tries to find this new realm, which we'll call the realm of stagnation, meaning that it never changes, it never moves forward, and it stays in the same place. Maybe being some sort of punishment for those who mess with time, those being that they will always be there, being trapped and being sealed away from their loved ones, never aging, never growing old, and just existing to a point where they just get apathetic and sit there for eternity. I think that is a much worse punishment than just outright dying or becoming a heartless of some sort. And maybe she goes on the path to try and figure out a way to get there without using the power of waking, so she can show Riku and Sora upon getting there how to get out of that place. I think that would be a good little plot for Kairi, and that way we could get the well-needed development and extended time that we need with this character, because I definitely believe she would benefit from it greatly. But moving on into the next one. Next, Vernon Rex, a character that was introduced to us in a video game trailer within a video game. A lot of us eventually wrote that off as him just being some cheeky reference to Versus 13 and Tetsuya Nomura's original visioning of that game before it transformed into Final Fantasy 15, but upon the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts story, we find out that this is an actual character within the Kingdom Hearts universe, and he is in the same place as Sora and Riku after Sora has overused the power of waking. And what does this mean? Well, what I think this means is that Vernon Rex is definitely going to be an important character for future titles coming up within the Kingdom Hearts series, because when it comes to secret endings, the characters within them usually are important to the game that the scene is representing. For example, within the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, where we got the first cutscene ever showing Roxas, older Riku, Mickey in the black coat, and the world that never was, we also got a tease of how Kairi would look in the future, which eventually came to fruition in Kingdom Hearts 2. And the secret ending for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, where we got the introduction of Terra, Aqua, Ventus, Master Xehanort, and Vanitas, who all ended up being super important characters, not only for Birth by Sleep, but also the entirety of the series up until this point. So we can only assume that Vernon Rex is going to play a significant role within the next game in the series or the games that come afterward. With that being said, does that mean that the game he's going to be in is going to be a Kingdom Hearts game though? Because a lot of people are theorizing that Vernon Rex may branch out from the Kingdom Hearts series and be somewhat of a spin-off of the Kingdom Hearts series, and probably be the actual original concept and idea that Tetsuya Nomura had for Versus 13, eventually leading to the culmination of seeing how Vernon Rex ended up in the same place as where Sora is right now, which I wouldn't mind at all, because even looking back today, there are still things within those Versus 13 trailers that I would like to see explored within the actual game. Just the overall somewhat darker setting, and I'm not saying Final Fantasy 15 is not dark, but I'm just saying just from the way the world looks and the way these characters acted within those small few trailers that we got with them, they seemed a lot more grounded and a lot more solemn as compared to their Final Fantasy 15 counterpart. With that being said, I think that is another concept, but I do think that this is probably the least likely game out of all 4 of these pitches, but I would like to see it nonetheless. And with that being said, let's jump into the last idea for you guys. And last but definitely not least, a game that could give us a lot of background information on characters that we would love to know more about, and something that could let us know about about things that happened in the Age of Fairy Tales, aka Chi and Union Cross, and that would be a game where you play as young Xehanort and young Ericus while they were learning the ways of the Keyblade. As we know, they've had their Master of Masters test, which involved them going to different worlds. We saw some of that in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, presumably if that cutscene that we saw in the trailer was young Xehanort of the past in his own time and not him talking to the Master of Masters or somebody else in the current present of the Kingdom Hearts timeline. It would be a very interesting thing to see, playing a game where you could play through a story as young Ericus and Xehanort, see their relationship, their dynamic, from where they started as Keyblade Wielders, maybe them not even liking each other at first, to becoming really good friends, all the way up until the point where they become masters in their own right and go on their separate journeys. Eventually Xehanort becoming the big bad of the first saga of the Kingdom Hearts series, and then Eric is going on to become the master of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus later on down the line. And if the theories are to be believed, Ericus may be the descendant of one of the main characters in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, which may make this all the more interesting if this game is to ever be made and we get some of that background information. And I really don't have too much to say about this game. Obviously it would just be a game where there's two different stories, where one you play as young Ericus going through worlds and one where you play as young Xehanort going through worlds, and eventually at certain points within the game they'll cross over and probably have to face some big bad that they have to deal with, who's probably causing trouble around the different worlds at the time. And that will be it. And along the way we can learn new secrets about the Keyblade, learn things about the Age of Fairy Tales, and get more knowledge about their characters and what motivates these two guys, and just go ahead and play as characters that we have never gotten to play as before. But with that being said, it has been your boy Skipx. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know which one of these 4 ideas are you the most excited about, and let me know your personal opinions about what game would you like to see coming right after Kingdom Hearts 3, seeing as the Osaka team is working on something right now. With that being said, it has been your boy Skipx. I will see you all in the next one, and I am out.